You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible, folks. You talk about what's happening in Italy. It is not good at all. Joining us right now is Fatou Sow, Howard University student who spent a time there in Italy, who has just returned. First of all, Fatou, coming back, did you get to self-quarantine when you came back from Italy?
Yes. So I'm actually a Howard University graduate. I go to Johns Hopkins SICE right now. It's in Bologna. I've been there since August. But when I got back, I did have to self-quarantine. I'm staying at an Airbnb just away from family just to keep things safe for the meantime right now.
Give us a sense, first of all, how long were you in Italy?
So I've been in Italy since August, and I had to abruptly leave on Monday.
And when you say abruptly leave, what were you? What was it? Ordered out of the country? Who made you leave Italy?
Yeah. So the problem was that we were getting updates from our school for the past couple of weeks. Honestly, starting back from I would say February, like the last week of February. But the problem was that as soon as I saw the U.S. State Department notifying U.S. citizens who are out of the country to just go back home, essentially, because they said if you get stuck in the country, then you won't get any help. I said, okay, this is the time that I need to go back. And then the woman who's over student life and activity at my school also sent a message saying, hey guys, if anybody is thinking about going back home, you should do so soon because Italy is about to get more strict in terms of travel. Like I just heard, I believe on Monday, they canceled public and private transportation within and going out of the country, any city, any region. And so I said, okay, I need to go back home.
You were there since August, which means that you were seeing this thing up close. Where in Italy were you based?
I was in Bologna, Italy. It's in the Emilia-Romagna region, so it's kind of in the middle of Italy.
And being there, you're seeing the closures, you're seeing the panic that set in. Just describe for the folks watching Roland Martin Unfiltered just what it was like to be in the middle of that.
So honestly, I have to say it wasn't much of a panic, and I personally think that's because of the culture. Maybe that's Italian culture, European culture, but it wasn't much of a panic. Like when I saw videos on Twitter, Instagram, family members calling me like being really scared for my health, I was like, well, guys, everyone here is pretty calm. Like nothing is sold out at the grocery stores. People were practicing social distancing. People were standing a couple meters apart. Over time, more people were wearing gloves, more people were wearing masks. So in the meantime, while things were getting worse and worse, I kind of felt comfortable because I saw the necessary steps being taken. Like the Prime Minister of Italy put in a decree saying like, okay, if you're going outside, and this was for the whole entire country. At first they focused it on the Lombardy region, but then they spread it out to the whole country. So they said, if you need to go outside, it only needs to be for essential reasons. The grocery store, the pharmacy store, some people were still going on jogs and runs, what may have you. However, if you didn't have a certain paper like on you, the police were liable to stop you and you could get a citation. So I think that is what automatically had people like, oh, we need to stay inside.
Is it also because, frankly, they listened to their leaders and leaders took decisive action as opposed to this sort of meandering, slow, we're not quite sure what we want to do in the United States?
Yes, I agree. I think one thing that was interesting for me is looking at Italy's government, its unitary system. So I was like surprised at how steadfast and quick all the decisions were made. Like my school was keeping up with everything that the government was sending. So as soon as they said the decree was put in place, they sent us the exact same thing, the form that we needed, everything. And so yes, Lombardy had the most cases, but once the country was seeing like, okay, this is actually getting out of hand, they said we need to send this all throughout.
Well, that was absolutely smart. And being somebody who was there as Italy was grappling with the rise in numbers and the rise in deaths, what should be happening in the United States?
Okay. I think a couple of things need to start happening in the United States. First of all, when I was getting on my plane from Rome to go to JFK, they said, if you don't have a mask, you're not getting on this flight. So they were automatically passing out masks for people. And then as soon as I got to JFK, I thought in my head, oh, they're going to be testing. No. The only thing that they did was take our temperature. And if someone had a temperature that was probably like a flu-like temperature, they pulled them to the side. I had only saw one person get pulled to the side. Other than that, people were still just leisurely traveling. Like, I had to go back home to Detroit. So when I was going through the airport, I'm just seeing people just chilling as if nothing is going on. So the first thing that I believe needs to happen is, if most airports don't, like most major airports just need to get shut down, because flights are still running out. People are just going about, and people are doing this because of consumerism. They've lowered the prices for the flight. So of course people are like, oh, I'm going to go, I'm going to be carefree, I'm not going to care. However, once you really see the effect and how quickly it's happening, that needs to change. Because right now, there's about 1,000 cases in the city I was living in, Bologna. And when I just looked at Michigan's website, it's already 700 in Detroit. So that just shows you how fast it's automatically spreading in the States, because people are still traveling. So the first thing that needs to happen is people need to take this serious, because it's an actual pandemic, and they need to stop all non-essential travel. That's the first thing. I think that in terms of restaurants still being open, at first, Italy had put in the decree saying, okay, from 6 to 6, bars and restaurants will still be open. But then once they saw it kept rising, they were like, actually, they're closed. Some are still open. So some delivery options are still being held. So if you want to order something, like a delivery person will come to the house. But other than that, like, things just need to get closed. If it's not a grocery store, if it's not a pharmacy, if it's not necessary, it does not need to be open.
Well, we talk about the whole travel deal. I mean, I think it was just so dumb to me a couple of weeks ago. People were like, oh, my God, look at cheap flights. Let's go. And I'm going, I mean, I knew someone who said her son talked her into going to New Orleans for spring break. And I'm going, do you see what the hell is happening in New Orleans? Stay your ass at home. And then they actually left.
Exactly.
They actually left a day early. But I'm going, he talked you into going to New Orleans on spring break to be with crowds.
I'm honestly, like, for me, I'm just kind of flabbergasted, because I mean, I'm young, you know, like I was already hearing everyone speak, and what you guys were saying, like, everybody is catching it. I mean, being in the city I was in and being in Italy, it has the oldest population, like the largest elderly population in Europe. So that's why so many people were passing away, and so many elderly people are passing away. But it's like, being in the heat of things was frightening. Like, it was scary. You know, yes, it was calm while I was over there, but to go back home and see things, like, it's just like nothing is going on. Like, everybody is just chilling. I was like, so are we just don't care? Like, Italy suspended mortgages across the entire country. And it's just like, what steps are we taking to ensure that, one, people's health is insured? I mean, my mom is a teacher. And so the fact that, like, just knowing that people are still being placed in situations where they're not, you know, I mean, DPS is closed, thank God. But it's just like knowing that these institutions and all of these companies are still running just to make a buck. It's like, it just feels as though they don't care about the people's lives.
All right. Howard University graduate Fatou Sow. We surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they basically about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, you know, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's RolandSMartin.com/pocket pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at rolandsmartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, it goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.